Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Jamie and Marcus here.
Welcome to Test of Time.
Love, passion, and hustle in the restaurant business.
Yes.
So this podcast is all about Marcus and my experience, our experience in the restaurant business, in all of the experiences that we've had,
Stories,
stories,
advice.
yes, and we want to bring that to you and bring some excitement and hope that you don't make some of the mistakes that we have made over the past 20 years or more.
More. Yep. We have a book called Mistakes That Business Owners Make, and for the restaurant industry, but of course, there's probably made 250 mistakes and counting.
At least.
So 50 is an understatement, but it's the top 50 that I felt at the time that restaurants were doing wrong, and here's what they can improve upon. And our new book is Everybody Still Has to Eat.
Yep. So we wrote that during COVID, after COVID, on some of the important things that we did to stay afloat and to have some of our best years going forward.
We've been
So
open since 2003, so we've had many good years,
yes,
but we've had some fantastic years during
yes,
COVID. So
exactly.
it's our blueprint. So they can get the books by going to 50mistakes.com, 50mistakes.com. To enroll you into Restaurant Growth Secrets University, and you get the books over there. So episode 29 today. Good boss.
28. 29. I thought it was 20. 29. You're right.
29, yeah.
29.
All right. So good boss, bad boss.
Yes. There's a lot of controversy, I would say, in that. Not maybe controversy isn't the right word, but everybody's perception. Everyone's perception is completely different, and their expectations are completely different. And yeah,
So as a young chef apprentice working in places, there was always two sides on the fence. The chef is an asshole, or the chef is mean and nasty, or the chef is awesome. Very rarely did you find where everybody said the chef was really nice, or everybody said the chef was the opposite. Very rarely did you get the same opinion for the whole staff. Some chefs' demeanor is different, so maybe a chef won't yell. Maybe sometimes a chef will yell, and
and employees take things very differently as well. Right?
Now they take things very different.
Very different.
When I was in the 90s learning how to cook and working these places, I mean, you just shut up and you listen.
You never talk back. You never,
and never talk back unless you were
screaming and yelling and.
Unless you were like, well, I'm out of here and right, screw you guys, which didn't happen much.
No.
And people, at least the places I worked, I was working with places they were working there for their career. It wasn't just somebody having a cook's job, a line cook job at a place, and who cares? They'll go landscaping next month if they lose their job. They'll go be a landscaper, right? Cut grass all summer. So where I was working, this was their livelihood.
And that was right.
This was their career. This was their future. So they were there to learn from hopefully some of the best leaders. This is like when I went to the Greenbrier, the Broadmoor, Pierre with Tom Claire, Michelin 3-star. When it comes to all employees, like you can go online and find what people say about us, how we are terrible bosses.
We're mean.
We're mean, terrible control freaks, terrible bosses, control freaks, and other such things. You can find that online very easily.
You can also find from past employees that are still good friends, that still come in, that still thank us to this day for teaching them the
dog. Dogs. Behind us. It was the copper bots. Barolo, go lay down. Yes, the dog's name is Barolo. Venus. He likes the camera. Does he like the camera?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have as much patience as you do. I'm just trying to get work done.
Good boy. Okay. It's a little needy today.
Every day.
Like some of our employees.
Every day.
So
to employees. So you can find employees that you know, we'll meet when we go to California and have dinner with them because
Employees worked for us
because
10,
they
15 years ago.
a long
Yeah.
time ago for us and worked a long time for us.
We'll get
So
we'll get invites to weddings of
yep,
employees. So
baby showers.
yeah,
And I mean, just it's very interesting. The when you look at how employees view their bosses, that is really interesting. And we if you talk to some of our employees that worked for us when we first opened, they said we were super hard on them.
super hard.
And that was 20 years ago. And if we were that way today, um, I don't think
We're doing the job ourselves.
yeah, we
Doing the
would
job.
be.
There's not many people that can have tough skin and really. So here's the issue. Us being the bosses, our job is to hold
The
staff
employees accountable.
accountable for our standards. That's part of
They're getting paid to hold our standards.
not their standards.
Not their standards.
Not their
Right.
standards.
Our
standards.
Right.
If you have less standards, go work at a restaurant with less standards.
Right.
If you have higher standards, go work at a restaurant with higher standards.
I like that. And I think that that should be, which we do talk about that in our interviews and things like that. But I like that.
Yeah. Right.
Right. If you want to work at a place that has less standards, then that's fine.
That's fine.
This job is not for you.
It's not for you.
But if you hold the standards that we hold, here's our mission statement, here's what we believe, this is how we run our business, and they decide to stay, then they're withhold they
Right.
they want to do well by you.
Right. So now we just had an employee that came in. We hired this person. We hired a couple new people recently.
Mm-hmm.
So one employee came in, high hopes for this employee, really high hopes. And we gave them a full-time position. They came in and worked a couple of shifts, full-time position. And they were used to another job's
Way of doing
things.
Of course.
So I noticed the first day, he tells all the other staff, this person tells all the other staff, with my past job, you have to be very careful of taking the ice out of the ice bin and putting it in a bucket because the noise it makes, you have to be quiet. Be quiet when you do this, right? So I was like, oh, wow, paying attention to small details. This is great. But then the coolers behind the bar, when you close the coolers, you have to open the latch and just close it. If you slam it,
It makes a loud noise.
Makes a loud noise, and it's very uncomfortable. And so I didn't do it every time, but I did it several times. I said, remember to close it. We even have a video on it in our training course. Remember the video, just how you close it. Remember, it makes noise. It's like, yeah. So it was a series of things like this with an employee that you constantly correcting because when somebody first comes with you, they don't know all your standards. And you can do training and training and training. But they don't know all the minutia and all the standards. So he ended up quitting
Mm-hmm.
and leaving us a message saying how we are unprofessional. We are micromanagers.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
That was it.
Yeah, we're unprofessional micromanagers.
Yeah.
And he can't work here anymore. Perfectly
Which is fine because we're not for him.
Perfectly fine.
Right? We were not the place for him. He's looking for something different that we can't give him. But it's our restaurant. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's our restaurant with our standards. And when you come into a place of employment, you're not the boss right away unless you're considered a manager or you're hired to do something very specific.
I like that thing we learned. I think it was Revlon or one of the big companies. They hire new people.
And you're not allowed to talk in meetings for a month.
6 months.
6 months. 6 months.
You're not allowed to talk. You're not allowed to, like, okay, we know you're smart because we hired you, is their attitude. Now learn what we do here and understand
how we do
what we do before you start chiming in meetings of how to correct things or move forward. And learn how we do things and we know you're smart. We hired you. Right? That's right. Not it's obvious you are smart. So, but now here's an employee that for the rest of time
will think that
that is going to go and tell other people don't work for them. They're micromanagers. They're control freaks. They're very unprofessional, right? This person on their second or third shift stayed late afterwards, and decided to do things that weren't kosher,
Right.
do things that really weren't acceptable,
Right.
that we had to deal with the next day. And I think most other bosses would have fired this person
Right away.
right away. Fire this person. What they did was really, really out of hand.
It was not right.
Not
acceptable.
not acceptable.
Not
Not
acceptable
acceptable.
for
Not
an
acceptable.
employee.
So now they're trying to learn our systems and we're pointing out things that we do, the minutia of what we do. But we're the unprofessional ones and we're the micromanagers
Right.
when this person does the same thing wrong over and over and over and over. I had to hear the doors slam 25 times. And I maybe said something 5 or 6 times. Remember the doors? And you're just like, but this is the way it was on a lot of things across the board. But it's just so now.
But we also hired employees at the same time that don't believe that because they ask a lot of questions and they want
and they
to
appreciate
learn and they want to appreciate. Right.
We have people that thank us for that. Thank you. I didn't realize that. Thank you. They
Thank
take
you.
note and they're diligent about it and they listen. So we were interviewing somebody today, and I always tell people I'm easy to work for.
Right.
You do your job, I'm easy to work for. If you start missing shifts, unexcused shifts, if you start not following policy procedure, if you're late, if you're not taking care of the guests, if you're not taking care of our standards, if you're doing things like I'll tell you something 10 times to do something, 5 times to do something, you're not getting it, we're not going to be a good boss for you.
No.
Because that's just
it's not going to
constant. Right. It's constant like you're late again. Like I shouldn't have to say, like I was taught as a young chef, if you're late, you walk in, chef, I'm sorry I'm late. I'm sorry I'm late. You don't sneak into work and hope nobody sees you. You say, chef, I'm late. I'm sorry. I'll get right to work now, right? Employees come in, they punch in, then they eat, then they go get their paycheck, and they take care of their personal
and
stuff.
And they go to the bathroom, and then they get water. Yes.
And then some employees come in 10 minutes early, and they've got all that taken care of when they punch in, they work. So there's two types. We're two different bosses to two different employees. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the bottom line. We're like different bosses to different employees. So yes, we are control freaks.
We haven't people that believe right
to people that need that need that. We're very laid back and let people do their own thing for people that come in and take care of
business and take care of our business the way that we want it to be taken care of.
It's very simple.
Yes.
Very simple. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
Sharing a story of two different bosses. Same people, two different sides.
Two different sides of the story. Employees, yes.
So I do know that a lot of restaurants don't train their staff enough. A lot of companies don't train their staff enough. And it's training, and more training. A lot of companies, a lot of restaurants, for them, training is something they did once or twice and they don't do it anymore. It's something of the past.
Ours is ongoing, and I think yours need other restaurants need ongoing training, and I think all businesses need ongoing training. And it's a constant training because things are always changing. Your standards might be the same, but things are always changing, and you always have to go with the times. You have to go with what's going on in your business, in the society, and all that kind of stuff. So
so we're lucky in the United States because if somebody steals from us, we can fire them, right? In other countries like Mexico, Spain, something, New Zealand,
you have to keep
you have to keep people even though they sit there and abuse you and steal from you and rob from you and totally like get away with
or you have
stuff.
To pay them like
you have to pay their unemployment. I don't think like Mexico has unemployment, so you have to pay their unemployment. Or Spain doesn't have unemployment, so you have to pay their unemployment after you fire them for stealing from you.
Yeah.
Like it's not my fault they're stealing. Like I'm protecting my business. Here in the U.S., you can still fire them from here, especially in New York. You can still fire them from stealing from you, and you still have to fight. You know how many times you've had to fight? Legitimately got rid of people, documented it, for stealing, for whatever, and you have to fight. You have to fight. Sometimes you lose. Mm-hmm. We've gone to hearings before over people, labor department hearings, because they just keep claiming, "Well, I'm entitled to unemployment. I'm entitled to unemployment." No, you're not entitled to unemployment. You don't do that to a boss. You do that, or you don't quit. Sometimes they quit
and then file unemployment.
Then file unemployment back on us. I'm like, well, I still have a job for this person.
Right.
Like,
tell them to come back in.
You call the labor department. I'm like, I still have a job for this person. You know what they tell me? Tell us, You have to call that person, and offer them their job back. But I never got rid of them to begin with. So now somebody who totally disrespected my business, who walked out of a shift, who quit, who's disgruntled, who just totally blew us off, I have to call them and offer their job back so they can qualify for unemployment? No, they should have never left to begin with.
Right.
To qualify for unemployment, they can still be working here, and it's the stuff you get that as an employer that you get put through is crazy.
Crazy.
And then the other end of it now, you have guests that come in that are just erratic and crazy and nonsense and privileged and non-appreciative, and you're like, both
Wow.
ends, both ends.
Both ends. Yeah. Yep. All right.
So, I mean, I know personally I can always be a better boss.
Well, we're always learning.
We're always learning.
We're always learning, and we're not going to be
Yep.
perfect, right?
Yep.
Because nobody is perfect. We're human. We make mistakes. We say things in not nice ways. We say things, or we don't correct things when we should be correcting. We can only do so much, right? So we aren't perfect. So,
All right.
all right. It is Jamie and Marcus here.
For more great tips on how to run a restaurant, go to restaurantgrowthsecretsuniversity.com. Lots of content over there, lots of videos. We want you to love your restaurant.
Yes, we do, and love what you're doing.
If you've fallen out of love with your restaurant, we want to help you fall in love with your restaurant.
Absolutely.
If it's opening a restaurant, we want to help you continue to love your restaurant.
And start off right.
Start off right, exactly.
Absolutely.
All right, folks, have a fantastic day.